In this video we're going to discuss how to label your rooms in your Revit architecture program, and we're also going to discuss how to create a space schedule based off of that room labeling. So to give you a little bit of history or how the industry normally works in architecture, an architect will talk with a customer to generate a space program like you see here to meet the needs of the customer. So the first column, you'll see the names of each type of room this customer is looking for, the quantity of the rooms, the approximate size, square footage, and the subtotal of the square footage based on the quantity, as well as some comments that the architect has made to meet the special needs for each room based on what the customer wants. The thing that's nice about architecture is it will generate this type of program in your floor plan based off of the room labeling for you. So it'll do all of that for you, which is really nice. So what we're going to do first is set up the settings for that program list, and then we're going to go ahead and label all your rooms, and then Revit will push that information from the room labels into that schedule that you created. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go to the View tab, click on Schedules, and go to Schedule Quantities. In there you're going to make sure that the filter list is just has architecture checked. We're going to give it a new name and call it Space Schedule. And then the type of category, we're going to pick Rooms. And then say OK. Once you do that, it has generated that schedule, but now we need to set up the properties for that schedule. So the first thing that we're going to want in this schedule here is the number of the room. So each room is labeled with a number. So we're going to want the number. I'm going to add that. And then we're also going to want name, area, and comments. So I'm going to click on name. Then I'm going to hold the control button on the keyboard and click area to select multiple items. And I also want comments, so I click add. Now if you wanted to go ahead and change some things, so I need to adjust this because I want it to go number, name, area, and then comments. So I'm going to move the name up by clicking the move up button. So it'll be number, name, area, and then any comments. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. As soon as I do that, it creates the schedule, and you'll notice in my project browser it has moved me to the schedules, and there's my space schedule that I just made. And you're not going to see any of this because you have not labeled any of your rooms yet, so that's what I'm going to show you next. So you're going to go into your first floor, and we're going to go to the Architecture tab, and we're specifically going to be working in the room and area space right here. And the first thing we're going to do is work with the room. And if you notice, it even gives you a quick little video on how this works and how they're labeling the rooms. Revit recognizes the different spaces of the rooms based on the walls that you have created, which is really cool. So what I'm going to do is click on room. Then if you notice, all the ones that are in blue already are the ones that I've already labeled, but if you also notice, I left the kitchen and the garage open. Now the other key thing that you want to take a look at is this big space that you see here, where you walk in the front door, you have your front room, your breakfast area. This is all one big room. Revit did not originally recognize these as separate rooms. So if you have something similar to this situation where it's one big open room, because a lot of houses now have open floor plans, save that for last because I'm going to show you how to do that later. What I want you to do now is focus on all of the smaller rooms like the bedrooms, the bathrooms, um, the laundry room maybe, or your utility room. Any of the big open floor plans, save that for last because I'm going to show you how to draw these lines and divide this up into separate spaces later. So all you have to do is go ahead, once you find a spot for where you can place that text, is go ahead and click, and you'll notice right away it creates the room name, the number, and it also, right now with the settings that I have going, it generates the square footage. I really don't need the square footage being shown in this floor plan because I have that in my schedule, so I'm going to turn that off in a minute. But let's talk about how to just rename this. All you have to do is click into the text, and you can type in whatever name of the room is. It'll also generate a number for you as well. So if you notice, I did this bedroom first, then I did the bathroom, this third, and so on all the way around. So after you do that, if you just click on and highlight one of the names blue and do an edit type, we can go ahead and edit this family of the room tag names. And you'll notice show area is turned on. I'm going to turn that off for right now and just hit apply and then say OK. The other thing you'll notice is the orientation. So if for some reason you did want to flip one of these sideways, for example this kitchen, you can go ahead and turn that to vertical and then hit apply, and it'll rotate that name tag. I'm going to leave mine all at horizontal, but in case you needed to. The other thing that you might have to do is move this name tag. You'll notice the move crosshairs right there underneath the number. You can go ahead and click and drag and move that wherever you would like to get it into a good position, because we want to try and keep our drawing as neat as possible. For example, in my dining room, I kind of moved this out of the way so that you could still see the table. So always try and keep it consistent and neat. So go ahead and label all of your rooms and hit pause for right now, and then come back and I'm going to show you how to create these lines here to separate these different rooms, so that way we can label those rooms separate. So now that you have all your rooms labeled, the other thing you might want to do, I know this is a little bit off topic, but with your numbering here, be careful where your numbers are at for your windows and things like that, because I'm going to end up having to come out and dimension this stuff anyways. So you may have to move some of these tags around to fit in your dimensions later, but that'll be in the future. A little bit off topic, but just want to note that. I also have to go back here and do my garage really quick. So now that you have all of your rooms labeled, you don't have to worry about closets. I didn't label the closets. I did label the master room because that is a pretty big walk-in closet, or the master room closet. So now that you have all the rooms labeled, let's talk about how to work on this open floor plan right here and divide that up. To do that, you're going to use the room separator, and it's exactly what it says it does. It can separate a room into two separate areas to create that label and also generate the square footage. So once you click on it, it brings you into the modify, and I'm going to use the line command and just draw. So all I did was I snapped from here to here, and then I drew another line from here to here to create my kitchen space as well as my breakfast room here. So those two lines. And then the other line I created was this one right here to separate my front room from the front entrance. So then after I did that, I just went back into the room tool, and then I can generate those different room tags based on that room separator lines I use to separate those rooms. I also just noticed a mistake that I had. If I go to room here, if you look, I have a little open space here because my kitchen, I have an extra line right here. So to fix that, delete that line right there, and now when I go into room, I have this whole area. I lost that open space that wasn't being calculated there. So now that you have all your rooms labeled and you learned how to use the room separator, when you go into your schedules on your in your project browser and go into space schedule, you will now see the number, the name of the room, as well as the area being calculated. Sometimes you may also see another column for level because you may have multiple levels, and we could go ahead and actually do the basement as well for room number 16 and calculate the square footage of the basement as well. So depending on how many levels are in the structure that's being built, you could have another column for levels as well. So that's how you can label your rooms and generate your space program. We will end up printing that space program as well. And that's it for this video.